What's going on? This is Tori Kravitz. Welcome back to another episode of She's the Band here on KNOTFEST. We've got a mega episode today. We have Meet Me at the Altar, and we have Devin from Honey Revenge. How are you guys doing?
Stoked for the first day of tour.
Yeah, I know. First day of tour altogether, and I just found out this is like your first time meeting in person, and I really just put you in the hot seat. Like, let's see if there's good rapport.
Right, we're all here.
This is the test. But yeah, how are you feeling? Just like starting the tour in Orlando, meeting for the first time, and all that.
Soundcheck was good. Was yours good?
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out the lights. I think because we sent like the tracks, and we had to like they were like before we had the official tracks, but just so they would know the set order, and so we had to extend one of them like just a little bit, and it's time coded, so it's like so like specifically tracked out. So I think they were like, you can just go. We're gonna figure this out. And I was like,
it's been good so far.
Sounded good.
Yeah,
sounded good. I could hear you guys from the green room.
Nice.
Oh yeah. I'm such a nerd for this kind of stuff though. I've gotten like really into learning about show production lately. So like people don't realize how to a T everything has to be for a show. Like time coding, you're saying like so like on the nose with timing and everything.
And there's so much gear that there's so many different places for things to go wrong.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God, now we have to troubleshoot. And especially day one of tour, like we've been lucky today where it's gone smoothly, but normally day one is a disaster.
So you must get really good at improvising on stage and like trying to play it cool when it's really not cool.
We do a lot of dad jokes in our camp. It's really bad because Donnie had a lot of guitar issues with their rig like the first couple tours, and there was like, especially it was in Atlanta, which is their hometown, and I was just like, jokes.
So Devin, what you got? Improvise.
Okay,
you
want to hear one? Oh yeah, I have like one that's like my go-to, and it's why did the Scarecrow get a promotion?
Why?
Because he was outstanding in his field. It's a good one.
That's so good.
That is good.
The first time I heard it, I laughed for hours. Like hours.
That's a double punch.
It's not that funny. It is a double punch.
Yeah. Outstanding in his field.
Yeah. That's really good though.
I like that a lot.
I have a lot of them. I worked at Starbucks for a long time, and they had me at the drive-thru for 8 hours a day, and it was like to just keep people entertained. I'd be like, you want to hear a joke?
Actually, I just want my coffee.
It was especially funny because, sorry, we're getting so off topic. But like, what couple jobs later, one of the girls I worked with was like, oh my God, you were the barista that told me jokes. You told me to have a Gouda day, and I hated it. I was in such a bad mood. I was like,
I have had baristas who are like, oh, sick tattoos, or oh, so you got 2 nose piercings, huh? I'm like, it's okay. We can just stay silent.
Not me, baby.
Well, it's a good thing you're in a band now.
Yeah.
You know, I think you found your niche. But I love seeing that you all are on tour together. I think this is such a great example. I mean, this being, women empowerment podcast, perfect example of supporting each other. Like you all are in similar genres, in the same lanes. And rather than being like, oh, we're similar bands, so we're going to be competing now, you're like really using your platforms to support each other on this tour and clearly getting along very well already. So why do you think it's important to build those friendships in the industry and make sure it's, that welcoming environment?
I feel like the industry loves to pit women against each other.
Exactly.
So to like switch the narrative on them and be like, we're just going to tour with only women.
Literally.
Or only non-binary people. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you just kind of got to flip it on them because they expect you. Like, you'll see lineups and they'll be like, oh, well, we can't put this band because we already have chicks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, instead of doing that, like, we'll just be all friends and say fuck you to all.
And like the industry is so gatekeepy as is, like we don't need to be contributing to that. Like it would make no sense for all of us to be so adamant on like how bad that is for us to like turn around and do the same thing. Like that doesn't really make sense. We're all just here trying to make it, having a good time. And there's space for everyone. Like it's not just like this is the only girl band that, can exist or whatever,
Exactly. But it's interesting what you said there, how like the industry is pitting people against each other, because I think you're right, because almost anyone I've met in the industry has been so supportive and welcoming and offer advice or whatever else. But it's like, why is it outside of our bubble?
You just don't see it.
Story.
You don't see it with like, well, we already got men on this bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't see it like the same. And this is like, I want to say it's not to throw shade, but it is to throw shade. Like, there have been a couple lineups I've seen repeat the last 4 years. The same pop punk bands. They just want to hang with their homies, which is so valid and beautiful for them. But like, I'm bored, bro. Like, put someone else up there. Like, for God's sake, like, you're going to have the same people. Like, you're never going to have new fans coming to the show.
Yeah, for real. And it makes it so hard for, like, especially because we were a tiny band that, like, grinded it out in, like, really small venues and stuff. And it's so hard for those kind of bands who have the drive to get anywhere because all the opportunities are not given to them. Mm-hmm. Like, how are you going to bring anyone up if you're just bringing the same 3 bands on tour every time? It's messed up.
Yeah, I mean, you all draw such a unique audience, I'm sure. Have you found that there's like a community within your bands now that you're like, this could be so beneficial on these other lineups?
There's definitely a big overlap. Because I don't even know where the overlap came from, but we do share a lot of fans, I feel like.
From the jump. I mean, we've been tagged in the same playlist forever. And I think it was almost like, I don't want to say we're too similar, but we were a similar size for so long. And it was like we were both trying to seek out like those opening slots so we could make fan bases of our own. And now I think we're both at the point where it's finally perfect, where we both have overlap while also having our own fans. And it's like perfect time to bring it together because we're both doing like good shit right now and both thriving. We both put out albums the same year.
Yeah.
Like, it just worked out, I think, finally.
Yeah, so serendipitous. I love it. And I mean, it's an obvious conversation that's circulated around both bands as well. Another common thread is representation. And both in terms of gender representation, racial diversity as well. And also just like all different kinds of representation where people can see, oh, wow, this is someone similar to me who's like out here doing this shit. I can do it too. And even just like I've felt that way of, oh, can I go online and see someone with a similar body type to me? Or, wow, I'm half Brazilian. Here's a Brazilian metal band who's crushing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so important to feel like, cool, they could do it, I could do it too. And that safe feeling at a show as well. So who were those people who did that for you when you were younger that made you feel validated and seen in the scene? Did you have that?
You have the same answer.
I feel like it's a very obvious answer.
And it was only for gender purposes. But Hayley Williams obviously was like, she paved the way in that like pop punk emo space. And like, she had to go through so much shit. And like, we're just so thankful that like, we just know that it's not just us. Like every woman in this scene goes through it. And I don't know.
Like Paris and Tonight Alive for me too. Like, I think for me for a long time, I feel like there weren't a lot more besides Hayley doing the front woman thing. Like you have a lot of people, like the Somerset had a drummer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there were some great bands. There was We Are the In Crowd. Yeah. But I feel like they were a little later, like just a little behind Hayley. So it was at first it was just Hayley because that's the only band with a woman they were like pushing to the forefront of media. And now it's like, I feel a few years later, we had Lynn Gunn. And we had Jen McDougall, who I am so obsessed with. That new Paris album was one of my favorite records that's come out in so long. Like, they're still out here. Jen McDougall has her own project. You know, they're all killing it, still out there doing it. Like, there's a reason all these people have long withstanding careers.
Yeah, and I think there's such an interesting thing to be said about all of this too, is like that you all are the ones doing it now. So there's like almost like a weird Inception thing where you're talking about the people that you loved that did that for you, and like, does it feel crazy to say that you are the ones doing it now? How does that feel?
It definitely does. Because like, and we've been touring for like 3 years seriously, I want to say. And over that span, we've met so many different people who have come up to us and like poured their hearts out about how important it is to see us. And like, we understand, like, we totally get it, because we would have loved to have bands like us growing up, you know, that we could directly see ourselves in. And it just means a lot to like be able to be that for people.
It feels really good. And even now, like growing up, there's always a hole for me, because I had Hayley Williams, like Lynn Gunn and stuff, but there still wasn't a Black woman fronting anything. And like, now that I'm really thinking about it, I think I am the person that fills that hole.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that. And I don't know, it feels good to be that for other people, because a lot of people tell me that I give them confidence, and it makes me feel really good.
I also think that was definitely something that made me also want to like push harder to make sure we make it somewhere. Because I remember when I first started to even want to play drums, first thing my dad told me was that girls don't play drums. So I was like, why not? So then immediately that just made me feel like, okay, that I'm going to be the person to do that. And then soon after, even though I was young, I started seeing other girl drummers too. And it makes you keep going.
There's so many of us now is the thing.
So
many people want to, they want to name us, but there are so many bands with femme and women front people that are absolutely killing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've known Scene Queen a really, really long time. I've known her since she was doing the rap thing at the Whiskey. She fucking kills it. She's one of those artists, too, where love her or hate her, she's done something that few of us can say we've done, which is like carve our own niche, specific, safe space in the scene, you know? Like, she has Bimbo Core is its own fucking planet.
Yeah.
And like Rivals, who you interviewed earlier, like there's so many of us. And that's just the ones that come to my mind. You know, I was wearing a Pink Shift shirt earlier, you know, all of them. Like, we brought Pollyanna out this fall. I could just go on and on. Like, there's so many of us. So when people make that compare Morrison is what I call it. Because they don't,
Perfect.
They want to say, well, there's no one else. It's like, open up
so
your music
are.
palette, bro. Like, I have a playlist attached to our Spotify with just artists with femme people in them. You know, like, there's no excuse anymore to make that lazy comparison, especially with artists that don't sound anything like that. Like, you're just drawing from a lazy comparison.
I mean, that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I'm like, look, here they all are. I have a whole playlist of episodes for you. Like, you can look through like the same way you have a playlist. I'm like, this podcast is like only, and this is even just a sliver of the examples. But like, I just think it's really cool to see like this new generation and what you're bringing to the table. And Taya, I actually have a quote from you from another interview where you said, for the longest time, there were just certain rules that you had to follow that we just don't anymore, which I love. Because those previous generations in pop rock probably had their rules that they had to follow, or, you know, lines in the industry they couldn't cross, or whatever it may be. And I think you just are breaking the mold in your own ways, even just with the internet being what it is and the freedom in music now. So what do you think you all are doing now that is just completely changing things for this new era? What's fresh?
I like to tell people about the music industry. And mind you, I'm not like an old head or anything. I haven't been around. We've been touring as Honey Revenge for a year. But I went to school for music, and it wasn't anything crazy, but people like to learn. It's so easy to be like, fans don't know, but they'll never know if you don't tell them. So I love to do like videos that aren't just about our music. Like, people are like, well, why aren't you coming to my city? I'm like, let me tell you.
I love your reels, for the record. Very educational, very entertaining.
I never want to come off as like a know-it-all, because sometimes I make these videos and people come at me like, we're not stupid. And I'm like, I was stupid.
Like, they're only saying that because you're a woman. If you were a dude speaking about if you were a dude speaking about it, I guarantee you everyone would be like, oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Literally.
Seriously.
Like, wow, you are just, you know your shit.
Wow, thanks for that.
Like, I have a degree. Like, it's
What'd
not.
you study?
Oh, right.
I got like, it's not like anything crazy. It's not, you couldn't take it to another university and have that degree.
Don't backtrack. What'd you study? You're
I
qualified.
I got now. Well, because I didn't want to go to college. So it was like, when I ended up there, I'm not like a big brain or anything, but I went for, to Musicians Institute in Hollywood, and I got my associate's degree in vocal performance. And then I took what they call an emphasis. It's kind of like their terms for getting your minor in something.
Yeah.
In their independent artist program, which is all about learning how to market yourself, learning
That's really cool.
how it all goes, so you don't get like fucked in a management contract, like what's legal in your state, what's illegal in your state, little business stuff, not a full business degree, but you kind of become well-rounded in performance, actual technique, theory, all that jazz. So while also the music industry is so touch and go and experience based, like you do not have to go to college for that. Just saying, like you can just start touring locally and then work your way up. But it really created a space for me to practice and fail before I went out into the scene. And it's like, even when you have old male family members that question you and try and tell you what to do, like that happens to me. And I'm like, why did you pay for me to go to school if you're just going to argue about it? Like, I've had it happen. You know, you're at Thanksgiving or Passover Seder or whatever, and they're just like, well, why aren't you on the radio? And you're just like, oh, because the radio is no longer taking a vinyl and putting it on the needle. You have to pay money to do that. Like, they don't. You have to explain. And I'm never going to be like, well, you're stupid. You don't know. I'd rather just explain, because it was explained to me.
Totally.
Like, why make them feel like they don't deserve to have information
Yeah.
And you can just tell them. And then they'll stop badgering you with annoying questions, maybe.
No, literally.
Well, now, for anybody who wants to comment on one of Devin's reels and has any question about her credentials, I will link you to this episode.
Content, baby.
But I also want to know, like, as far as these rules, what rules did you, when you said that quote, like, what are you all breaking? Meet me at the altar. What are you slamming down?
I just feel like there was always this, like, unspoken, you do not belong here, stay in your place, that like we just experienced at shows and just like all sorts of facets. But like we're not gonna fucking do that. We're not gonna do what you tell us just because you say that we can't do something, you know, like we're just trying to do our own thing. And I think like for us too, like we really focus on being emotionally transparent with our audience, because like even today, like it's not easy. Like it's hard. And when we first got signed and stuff, we almost had this like naive positivity. And obviously like being positive is a good thing, but we were just kind of unaware of like how the industry really works. And like you can't get on people's bad sides because then they'll call up their people and like blacklist you. Like it's like a whole thing. But yeah, we just try to be open and honest about like, we're still doing it even though it's not easy, and like we struggle, but like that's a part of it. Like we're gonna work through it and like become better people through all of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so well. I appreciate your optimism, and I think this transparency is like one thing that makes fans love you more. Is like you all are humans, and you're just working away and doing your best and trying to make the scene a better.
We're just
place.
people. We're just regular people.
People on a mission, though.
Yeah.
And another thing that I think really sets you apart, that honestly, it made my day. First off, that you all covered a song from Freaky Friday.
Oh.
And Devin, you in another interview also mentioned Disney Rock.
Yeah.
It's like a big influence.
Your guys' show playlist.
Talking about it.
Yeah.
It was Hannah Montana, and then Sarah Bareilles came out, and I was like, who's got the aux right now?
Yep.
Okay, y'all are wildin'. I love this because I think we're all around a similar age where I feel like for so long, I haven't even mentioned on the podcast how much I loved the Jonas Brothers and Hannah Montana.
My God.
And like all of this.
Lemonade Mouth Dog.
Yes.
Dude,
And it's
so
like
good.
when I was
Fire.
11 and 12, this was rock adjacent.
Yes.
This was what got me into like guitars.
Absolutely.
You know what?
It really
Actually,
is.
that I didn't even put two and two together when you asked about like who did we have to like
Yeah, we
influence
didn't.
and stuff.
Yeah, we didn't.
Disney
Sure.
rock, because like there were
Crazy.
so many women doing rock, like
Hannah
Demi
Montana
Lovato
was
and
rock
yes,
star.
Blueprint.
Rockstar.
Yes.
She wanted to be a rock star.
And
I
you're so
love that we're
normal.
talking about this with no shame because I think I haven't mentioned it because I'm like, am I going to lose
Oh,
my
boo.
cred?
Right, no.
I
No.
know. But like,
I think like those
Yeah.
things are just deemed not cool because it's women.
Yeah, it was
Kind of
geared
that's
towards
what I
yeah,
love.
girls.
like anything that has like a
It's like being a
predominantly-
fangirl. You
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yep.
which they run the industry.
they literally,
for the record.
yes.
they do your
They pay your
publicist
bills,
job
guys.
for you. Like,
Mhm.
That's why I'm a publicist because
Yeah.
I was a fangirl first. Like
Yeah.
that's how this all has
you don't want
happened.
to know how many Instagram accounts I run.
Okay,
Right.
really? So you were
So
doing
many. Oh, it's embarrassing. Tumblr accounts, all of it.
Oh,
Ah.
that's so
Boy,
good.
Tumblr ran the scene for so long.
Yes, it
and it's
did.
completely.
That was something I
it's-
miss. To
Yeah,
this day, I miss it a
it's
lot.
We'll bring it
completely
back.
different.
We should.
We should
Yeah.
bring it back.
We always dreamt of people using our lyrics on those
It
like
was like
sad
cover-
edits. Yes,
The text
that was our
post.
goal.
So like having this Disney rock influence, which I love so much, it honestly, like I started listening to Jonas Brothers self-titled after watching your interviews. I was like, let me listen to that again. You know, let's go back to it.
People forget some of those writers that were writing on those Disney songs
Mhm.
are some of the best rock writers. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
people are ripping off old Disney songs now. You know what
Literally.
I mean? Like, Ali and AJ are re-recording their music. Like,
Yep.
Oh my god.
Let's not forget potential breakup song, explicit version.
Yes,
Yes.
I needed that.
Yeah, Disney Rock was just everything, and I think the influences you have, like even like subconsciously when you're just a kid watching, are
Yeah.
so important. And for our album, we went to John Fields, who produced the Jonas Brothers
Mhm.
record, and then the Demi Lovato Don't Forget record, and that's why I went to him, because it was like there's something so timeless about that sound, and like we wanted to make something that reminded us of that, and it was it's
Daisy
perfect
Renee
match.
too. They kill the Disney rock sound, like another band. You know what I mean? Like,
Literally,
I'm
yeah.
just gonna. It's like the clown pulling the. But it's like watching young women. Like, those were young teenage girls
Yeah.
Mhm.
playing stadium shows in rainbow outfits to rock music with guitars and drums and bass.
Yup.
And we're, you know, what, 4th, 5th grade? Like, that's where it all started. Like, I can say that it was Pink, and I can say that it was Katy Perry. Like, there's all those influences of, like, women who were on the mainstream. But, like, to see, like, someone so close in age to you doing it is, like, whoa.
And again, representation, isn't it? Where you're like, oh, that's someone my age, and they're like playing arenas.
Yeah.
There it is.
13 years old, I think, was Miley's first show. I think
That's
I saw
crazy.
something recently.
Yeah.
Like, huge stadium. I just saw the video of like her first live performance, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. So like, I think it's cool. I mean, obviously, I talked about how for me, I'm like, ooh, but I don't want to lose my cred.
Yeah.
So do you all ever like? Maybe that's just me, but do you all ever think about certain things where like, do you want to be authentic and just be loud and proud about the influences you have, or is there ever a moment where you're like, should we?
There's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. You should never feel bad about liking something. And like, we've been super vocal about that. Like, we've got a little bit shit on for going the Disney rock route, but like, who fucking cares? We make the music that we like to listen to. If you like it, that is awesome. If you don't, okay.
I'll see you in the hate comments if you don't.
I mean, no one can sit here and say that "Take Me Away" is not a punk song.
I know.
No, seriously.
That went crazy.
Well, that's what is punk about. Punk is like doing something against the grain.
Yeah.
And like, whether it's actual punk, you know, genre elitists are gonna always have something to say.
Right.
But like, no matter what, it's like, that is what punk is like, not rebelling. It is rebelling, but like doing your own thing and not giving a fuck, you know? That's the coolest part about this scene, is just like you had people like Katy Perry playing Warped Tour, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true.
I wish I could have gone to that.
She was a rock star
I
in
know.
the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, even Mike Posner played Warped Tour.
Yeah.
There
That's
was
also
some
crazy.
Interesting.
It's
choices in the
eclectic,
lineup,
like-
but that is what you're saying. It's punk. Like Kevin Lyman putting punk, like pop bands on the lineup was like, cool. We're not conforming to anything.
There was rap too. Like there was
Like punk is almost not punk anymore because there's rules.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Thanks for that. Like you.
You were dropping some heat right there.
Yeah, we were.
We all are today. I love it. And another common ground that we all have sitting at this table is we're all in the public eye, or we're in the public eye in our early 20s. And like in those formative years, which you've talked about in interviews as well, of like how rapidly and ever changing those years are. I mean, I hate that I could go on YouTube and find what I was doing at 15 years old on YouTube and like what I was doing at 18. I think I went through more eras between 20 and 24 than ever in my entire life. So how do you all feel just in terms of a band being something that has to be a consistent brand to some extent, but also we're still changing. We're all still growing and evolving. How do you balance that?
I think I just think about how it's helping people in some type of way. Because we have a song called TMI, and it's like the first song that I let myself just be really honest.
That music video is beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. And now I sometimes just think about, I'm like, my no makeup face is on the internet forever, and it makes me sad. But then I have to think about who it's helping. And that just overrides everything else. That's the most important thing, is who it's helping.
Yeah, that was such a beautiful video. And like, it felt very vulnerable, but also very authentic too. And yeah, very brave that you did that.
And like authenticity is something that we've like had conversations about that too, where like we just really want to be as authentic. Oh my God, I can't talk. As authentic as possible, because like, why would we try to be someone that we're not? And especially because like we've grown so much literally over the last year, but like thinking back to like 3 years ago, like we're entirely different people. And it's good to like show that you've grown, and bands evolve all the time. You know, each album cycle is something a little different, and your music reflects your mental state at the time and everything. So we're always just like really trying to be honest with what we're going through at the time. And like this next album, there's gonna be a lot of sad shit on it because we went through a lot of stuff.
Really depressing, like for sure. But it's gonna be really good.
Yeah,
because what's depressing makes good ass music.
Yes,
it's true.
And there's something so good about they feel my pain.
Yeah,
that moment
absolutely.
when somebody can articulate that sadness you're feeling just in the most perfect way.
And that's something that we've had a shift on, is when we first got signed and everything, we were like, okay, we're going to have this platform now. we want to be super positive and like, you know, let people know that everything's gonna be okay because there's so much negativity. And
I think that timing was great because it was right in the pandemic, so people felt very alone.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we had to realize that you can still help people by being honest about the bad times and like bad moments, because everyone has those. Life isn't just rainbows and sunshine all the time, and we definitely focused on that.
Last year was interesting because it was like definitely the saddest I've been in a really long time, but it was the biggest year for us yet because we talk about commercial and then like we played Madison Square Garden, like we did all these things.
It's kind of how it works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You're just
really
the pressure is a lot, you know. It's like you're balancing your mental health while also trying to. You're finally getting the thing you've worked your whole life for. And I write about it on our album. Like, you have worked for something for so long, and then you're like, oh, am I actually going to be able to do this? Like, you think you understand it from an outside perspective and as someone who's working towards that goal. And when you're working towards that goal, it feels like, I'm going to be able to handle this shit. Like, I've been grinding. But then you get there and you're like, am I cut out for this? It's terrifying. Like,
imposter syndrome's real.
Yeah. And it's like, toxic positivity too is such like like, shouldn't you be great? Like, then you're like, oh, shouldn't I be grateful? It's like this conundrum of just like trying to sort yourself out, and you're together all the time and you don't get a chance to breathe, and you're leaving the people you love behind, but then you're like doing the thing you love at the same time.
It's very conflicting.
It's
all
so crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that way. You guys know I did Warped Tour, and like that to me was like the thing I'd worked towards for a decade, and it was my dream come true.
That tour was crazy. I've only heard stories about how
it's insane. But the thing is, you think your dream comes true, but like the rest of the world doesn't stop. The drama of your life doesn't stop just because you got the thing. You know, you're still gonna have heartbreak, you're still gonna have family troubles or whatever it may be.
And like, sometimes it's like
coexist.
It's so easy to get wrapped up in reaching that goal that when you're finally there, it's like, fuck, I don't feel any different. You know,
I'm
and
always
it's like,
what's next?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
which is it's good to be aware of that, because you can be present in the moment and be like, no matter what happens, I'm here for the ride. Like, that is literally like Miley Cyrus said, it's the climb.
We have a song where it's like, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm looking on the bright side. And it's just like, that's the whole song, is I'm in it for the ride. But yeah, I mean, you just said it. Like, you can experience like loss, and then you just have to keep going. I mean, not to like damper it down, but my dad died on our summer tour, and we had 9 days in between tours before I had to hop back on the road. And it's like, have I dealt with that? Probably not. But you know what I mean? Like, you just kind of have to keep going, because it's like, what am I going to do? Go home and mope and not play shows? Like, there's a whole tour booked.
And the thing is, people on the outside only see that you're doing these awesome tours.
I played that show that night. Like, I found out and then got up on stage.
That is crazy.
Yeah, probably not my best move, but I felt fine eventually. Like, you know what I mean?
Adrenaline too.
Yeah, it's like, I probably played like better because of it, but it's like, people underestimate what's going on, like especially when we have aesthetics the way we do, where it's like fun and like that's why I try and mix both of it, of like crippling self-awareness and also like ass shakers, so you gotta blend it all together, because it's like sometimes you gotta cry and shake your ass, and that's
on a lighter note, having a period on tour.
Oh my god,
true. That's
prepping, just planning.
I know.
I also feel like touring through my whole cycle out of place. Like, I feel like I was so on it, on the clock every month. And now it's like every month it's changing. I'm like,
especially for us, we all sync up with each other. And I'm like, stay away. I don't want it yet.
And especially being in like a moving vehicle, I can't stop right now.
Oh my god,
like, there's their own rules on tour bus bathrooms.
We need like a period catheter or something.
Oh my god.
Like the bus or just
that's so funny.
Guys, tune out now.
Tune in.
Listen.
I want you to know what we're going through.
You know what? That is true.
It's metal as fuck. Having a period.
It really is.
Like,
it's
you're just bleeding.
You guys are wearing fake blood on stage. We're wearing real blood.
We're not posers.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, you know, rocking it on stage, I want to talk about your fashion. That is quite the segue, by the way.
Like, periods to fashion.
Well, it all links, because how are you going to wear that?
Exactly.
You're going to rock it. I am obsessed with you all and how fabulous you look. And I also feel like your fashion sense is very fearless. So where did the confidence and the inspiration come from to just be so unapologetically yourself?
I when I found the scene when I was like 14, I found like a Pierce the Veil video. That
Which
was it.
one?
King for a Day. Also, Bring Me the Horizon, Can You Feel My Heart? I remember when I found that, and then there's like the switch in my brain. I was like, I'm emo. And now I'm still, it's just like, I really found who I was through music. And at the time, like I wanted to look like what I was listening to. And I thought, you know, the scene queens on Tumblr, etc., were always connected to like a scene metal band or something. And so then I just wanted to look like them, and I figured it out for myself, like, especially as being a Black woman, and like figuring out how to look emo and to really like pass it off as being alt is a lot harder when you're Black. And I don't know, it just never stopped. It just kept going and kept going and kept going. And then my mom was like, she'd be like, so are you gonna wear that? Like, when's this gonna stop? And it never stopped.
It's not a phase,
and
Mom.
like now, like yeah, literally now everyone's like, oh, that's just how Edith is. But I don't know. I think it's clothes are like my second favorite thing to music, and it just people can look at you and tell you who you are, and I think that's really beautiful. So
yeah. It's like so important, and I feel like people don't talk about how important it is to like feel good in your clothes, because like it's literally your identity. Like how you present yourself is like how you're seen to the world, and it's nice to like feel good about it and like wear what you want. And like we would never like some brands have hit us up like offering us free clothes, and we're like, no, like we would never wear that. Like that's not us.
Interesting. Well, good to know if you ever promote anything, it's because you actually
yes,
love it.
yeah.
We would not go out of our way.
For the record, Pierce the Veil was also my emo awakening. Fashion-wise. A Flair for the Dramatic was the album. So I love that we have that. But so how did you figure out your way of like altering alt fashion to make sense for you and your style to feel authentic?
I really love protective styles because like they protect our hair as Black people, and it's like, I don't know, it's like very easy upkeep for like if you don't want to do it every day and everything. And I was like, well, like I'm not gonna straighten my hair, it's gonna damage it, so I'll just put color in it. Just like finding ways to like make it work for you. Like that's for anyone. Just like find what works for you, and eventually it'll all come together. Because it's like I'm still evolving, I feel like. Because like a couple years ago, months ago, I would never wear a skirt, and now I'm just like on my skirt shit. You know?
Skorts, baby.
Oh,
we have
right
matching
now.
skorts. Donnie and I have matching skorts, and we wear them on stage. Like, so real. Like, I feel like it was healing my inner child, because like, you also grow up in the alt scene and you're supposed to be dark, you know, wear like all black and like red and like big eyeliner, which like I do that either way. But like being a little girl, like I had a hot pink and purple bedroom. I had like an obsession with owning every fuchsia thing that I could come across. And then I grew up and like thought I was too cool for it, you know, same way like you only listen to metalcore for a little bit because you're like, I can't handle the pop stuff. Like stupid because you're hot, that you're not cool.
It's internalized.
Literally,
So I think this band for me, like even in other projects I've been in, I tried so hard not to be feminine and girly because I was in with the boys and playing the game. And so it's like this band for me was healing so much of that. And do I always feel like looking like a little powder puff and wearing pink and purple? Not all the time, but like that's what it is for me, is feeling like all the stuff that I loved when I was younger that made me happy. Yeah. Like you can,
that's who you are.
You create your brand. I'm a colorful ass personality. Like I've always been loud no matter where or who I am with. It is a fault and it is a strength. But you know, that's what it is for me, is like finding what works for you. Like the band just kind of was always like, that's what I saw when I was making the music, was just like pinks and purples. And it's a lot of fake it till you make it. Like people love to be like, where'd you get your confidence? I'm like, I just threw it on. And
literally,
like also I feel like it was a lot of rebellion for me because I was in show choir and I had to wear sequin dresses and we all had to be uniform and had matching curly hair. I could not have like unnaturally colored hair. I couldn't have facial piercings. I couldn't have colorful nails, like none of it.
I relate. I used to be in a choir outside of school, and when I was first trying to put color in my braids, I would like have my hair braider only color the ends, only put color in the ends, and then I'd wrap my hair up. Everything else would be black. Wrap my hair up, and then I'd put a sock on the back of my head because I couldn't have colorful hair in choir.
My friends had to wear wigs.
Yeah, like
Damn.
we do what we gotta do.
Only red on my ends for the exact same reason. I went to a private school where I couldn't have any colored hair.
I just had like as
You just
unnaturally
find your way.
natural as you could,
Yes.
like burgundy
Right.
box dye, you know what I mean? So as soon as I turned 18, septum, like day I turned 18, wore a fake one all senior year just to prove that I was gonna do it. And like immediately went like fire truck red with the hair and then green. And it was just like, now I've been pink for so long. It's kind of like, again, healing this part of this life that I wasn't able to live my truth in like expression. And I know like Donnie feels similarly, like they came to me as an 18-year-old baby from Dalton, Georgia. And they were like very much, you know, forced to be a certain way because the way they wanted to be was not fully accepted. And I think that's something we've kind of done together is like find a way to express both of ourselves. Like I don't always want to wear skirts, but they want to wear a skirt. So I'm going to wear a skirt and we're going to match. You know what I mean? And they get a lot of that too of like, you as a non-binary person make me want to come and like express myself a similar way. And like, that's all you can ask for. Like I'm just hoping that it continues, honestly, like with us, like you said, ever changing, like you brand your band a certain way and that's how people are going to see you. So you kind of have to find a way to like ebb and flow and change in a way that's going to stay familiar and comfortable for people, but also for yourself. Like it's so hard because that's nowadays branding is everything. And if you brand yourself a certain way in the scene, like they're going to expect that next time.
Yeah.
And you have to like, and then it's like, I don't always want to feel like this.
Right.
Like eventually I'm not going to want to be a pink.
It's literally like just like you said, it's like that sonically too, especially for bands in the scene or like a heavy band or rock band. I remember when Bring Me the Horizon put out That's the Spirit and the hoot and holler everybody had, man. People are freaking out so that they weren't heavy anymore. And that record is so
good.
So good.
Literally.
Suddenly everyone really cared about Pray for Plagues.
Yeah.
Well, it's Paramore.
Yeah, literally.
Like people are like, Paramore's not good. I'm like, they haven't made a Riot album in over 15 years.
Literally.
Calm down. I'm sorry you're not in the know. Like, sorry you haven't like changed your playlist up since MySpace. All like condolences to you. But like that band, that form of Paramore has been dead for years.
Yes.
So people are like, oh, you're like bringing back that old sound. I'm like, one, no, we're not. We're not. We don't sound like that. Two, I'm just a girl. I'm literally just a girl, and you're just comparing us.
Just a girl.
Literally. And then three, it's like they literally like haven't sound. They've evolved so much.
Yeah.
Like they put out an album once every 5 years for a reason. Like
Yeah,
they're different.
The
It's just-
notion that like you're a certain sound you've made before is dead is so weird to me.
Yeah.
Like I feel like some fans have the trouble with that, and it's like when we are making more albums and more songs, it's like those don't go away. That's
Right,
still a
you can
part of
listen
us.
to it.
Yeah.
Crazy thought.
And it's still a part of you as an artist, like everything you've done. And it's like interesting to see some people kind of think, oh, you sound like this now, then that must be dead. It's like, no, it's kind of just everything is us.
Right.
weird.
I think
Verbatim.
something that
Yeah.
we've like really realized is that there is no way to win. Like
Yeah.
if you stay the exact same, people are gonna be like, oh, they never change it up. If you change it up, they're gonna be like, oh my God, they don't sound the same. You know,
Yeah.
like there's just, so just do whatever you want.
Yeah. And then we went through that with our first record because we were really easy core before and like kind of
But no one
very-
streamed it. So we're like, okay, you know,
Right,
let's
so I guess
change
you
it
move on.
up.
We're kind of very, very niche of like an easy core like chunk sound. And this one is like, I don't know.
The Disney rock.
It's
you
still,
know.
it's very it's rock music still, but I don't know. People get caught up in the little things, but I don't know. Like we're everything we make. It's hard, it's like interesting. People don't get that.
word for word, someone recently was like, you're copying this band. Like, it's boring. Like, let them do it. I'm like, go fucking listen to them then. I literally said that in the comment. I was like, they still exist. Go listen to them and get out of my comment section. Like, I just don't have time for it anymore. I should be nicer. I don't care. But I'll be like, go fucking listen to them. Like, braid your beard. Go braid your beard. Like, I can't stand. Recently, someone like tried to insult me. I'm like, I don't take musical advice from people with your kind of facial hair. I'm sorry.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
That is so
What
funny.
was the facial hair?
It was like split down the middle next
Oh,
to your
what?
looking motherfucker.
Ew.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
I'm like,
though.
go learn hygiene and then call me.
And this is why you all are on the podcast. You know, because you're just so unapologetically yourselves. And I think you all are just bringing color back to the music scene.
Yes.
Not only
It can be
literally,
fun. Like,
because, I mean, Devin, you are like a walking rainbow in the best way possible. And like the blue hair, it's all so fun. But like just in terms of your music as well, I feel like there's color in it again.
You know what? I feel like we had I don't know what word I'm looking for, but like we were able to just be ourselves so easily because we already didn't fit the mold. Like there's this like you wear all black, you know, you don't smile in your promos, you like there's just such a mold. Yes. Or the
in the middle of the train track.
The hands like
The
yeah,
train
like
tracks, yeah.
oh my god, the train tracks.
yes.
Yeah.
Like we
No
already
colors in the edits
didn't
either.
fit that, so it's
and
just so
white.
easy to like do what you actually want because
Yeah.
like we wear that, they're still not gonna see that, you know, so I don't know.
Fully. Well, to wrap up our really awesome interview, this is getting serious. Like, this is serious. We have our jaw-dropping
yourself.
segment of 4 questions of jaw-dropping things in the music scene and in your careers.
I'm
You ready?
stretching.
Yeah. So everybody do a good stretch. If you're watching this on video, we're all, warming up for this. So the first one, and we could kind of go around the table. You all may have different answers. The most jaw-dropping experience you've ever had at a show. Could be one of yours or one you've attended.
Wait, okay, jaw dropping in a good way?
Up to you.
Something came to mind immediately for me.
What?
Yeah, what is it?
Actually, two things came to mind, but the one that, what if I don't want to say it because it was embarrassing?
What is that?
Our fucking show in Addison, Texas. We played a.
Oh, why are you gonna expose us like that?
But this is the most jaw dropping. We played a festival in Addison, Texas. It was hot as balls. It was ridiculously hot. I don't even know. People shouldn't even be allowed outside. It's so
Yeah, and it was
hot.
outside.
Our laptop overheated. So I had to like try to fix that, and then the laptop fell off where it was on the floor, unplugged.
We should have had some
Also,
dad
wait,
jokes then.
Also, like, mind you, like, no one was there.
There was like
it was
10
like such
people.
a specific. It was weird.
It was a weird.
It was
situation.
really weird, and like I feel like things are more awkward when like no one's there.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like
Yeah.
quiet.
Kind of do some crowd work when there's people there.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Exactly. But then when there's no one to talk
But
to,
there
you're
was
just
no
like.
Oh my god! But I hated that entire experience.
That was
and
awful, actually. Yeah.
I try not to think about it.
You paid your dues. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I gotta go through something.
In Toronto, last time we were there, we were playing our last song, Distracted, which is like our big finale moment. And Donnie was so excited that tour because, they got guitar picks, custom guitar picks with Honey Revenge on it. And they were trying to hand it to someone in the front row that was going super hard. And this person mistook the motion of the guitar pick for Donnie pulling them on stage.
Oh,
And then so Donnie dropped the guitar pick and went to grab it. And the kid pushes himself up on the stage, climbs up, and is just, instead of like, we thought maybe a stage dive or something, just stayed there jumping up and down. And went so far back, they jumped and stepped on the outlet that had the entire power supply, yanked it out of the wall, lost all sound. Last song, at least. But you guys ever played the Velvet Underground?
Where is that?
Toronto?
Yeah, we played
Yeah,
that.
we
Yeah.
It's like kind of a dark
Oh my
crowd.
Yeah.
god.
And so it's just like
God.
all of the sound lost. We were just all drums, and I was like, uh-oh. Like, I was like trying to get everyone to sing. And it was just so funny because then security all of a sudden wanted to do their job.
Oh.
And all of a sudden they're like, every time the kid tried to come up and talk to us at the stage, because he still didn't know. He was like, thank you so much for pulling me up. And we were like, that's not what happened. But it was so funny because I felt so bad. Even Donnie was like, no, don't kick him out. He's just having a good time.
Yeah.
But the security suddenly wanted to be like, near us. I'm like, where were
Right.
you when this kid was jumping
Yeah.
on our power
Oh,
supply?
man.
Crazy.
I think
That is wild.
mine actually happened here in Orlando. We
Makes
were
sense.
playing a show. I don't even remember. It had to have been like 2018 or 2019. And it was after our set. We had already played, and I was just walking around, and there was this person with a rainbow tutu on and a glow stick through their septum. And they went up to me, and they were like, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then they just silently handed me a flyer, and it was a flyer for a cult. Like, the cult had nothing to do with being gay. I looked it up and everything. I was like, What about me gave off that I wanted to be
That's
in this?
so funny.
That is so Florida coded.
Yes,
It really
it
is.
Was it Florida Man?
It was with a rainbow tutu and a glow, stick.
In his
septum.
That's sick.
The glow stick, that's cool. You gotta steal that.
Shout out wherever
Shout
you
out.
are.
I mean, I'll ask about this cult later. You know, maybe I'm
Yeah,
curious.
no, seriously. I'll
Maybe
show
I
you.
want in. Just kidding, I really don't.
Yeah, stay away.
Do
I
you
think,
have one? Yeah.
Jaw dropping. I mean, playing Madison Square Garden was like
Mhm.
I've never felt more at home before, and like playing, like being able to play shows that size and just it feeling good and like not scary. That's crazy because it's
Yeah.
big, and like even like the Forum in LA, it's just huge, but like it feels good. And I was like, this feels good. It was kind of like, it's like, ooh.
It's easier with
Yeah.
more people.
It's
It
so much
is
easier.
so much less
It
scary.
really is.
It's like
Yeah.
you can't see their eyes all looking
You
right
just have
at
more
you.
people to connect with. Like,
Yeah.
that too, but like, there's just something about like a sea of people and like you
Right.
have the chance to like look at so many people, and I don't know, I prefer it.
And like
Yeah.
oppositely, I feel like you can like disconnect
Mhm.
easier too. You can kind of like dissociate.
You can, like,
you're
it's
playing the show and it's not like, oh my god, there's 5 people watching me and it's so silent in here and they're all thinking about how this room is empty right now.
Right.
yeah.
Fair. Well, that is an incredible milestone. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
Madison Square Garden. And now the most jaw-dropping misstep early in your career and the lesson you learned from it.
I'd say before, you guys might agree with me on this one, before this band was having more than like 2 or 3 people in the project, like too many opinions, like too many cooks, just like
In the
enough
kitchen.
people to disagree with you just to call you a bitch. Like, when you're the only one making the moves, like
That's such a good. People might say that's a hot take, but it's not.
it's super not. Why do you think they put the bass in the tracks for most bands now? Like, no offense, we love our bass player, Tay. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that. Don't kill me. They will kill me. But you know what I mean? Just like thinking
That's
that you
so
need this
true.
band dynamic, because we grew up with
Yeah.
like 5 to 6 to 7 piece bands, and like
Yeah.
especially in the heavy music scene, like
Mhm.
you don't need all those people. Why do you think none of them are in those bands anymore? Why do you think most bands only have
Right.
4 original members? Like, I mean, just
Yeah.
too many people, like too many
Mhm.
opinions. You're never all gonna be on the same
Yeah.
page.
Right.
Like-
I don't know how bands make it
I don't know how they
work.
do that.
Only 2 or 3 people are writing the music. Like,
That's
you have bands with that
right.
many people, and like, fun music industry fact, everybody. It's just like they have different contracts. Like, you know, the singer
Absolutely.
is the only member of the band legally, and then they have people that come and go, and that's not to speak for every band, but I could name a lot of them. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's just knowing me and Donnie, I'm sure you guys as a 3-piece are similar. We're on the same page. And when we're not, we find a way to be on the same page. But you
Right.
have 5 to
Must be.
6 people in the band.
I can't even imagine. Oh
I
my
can't
god.
We had
Gosh.
5 in my old band. No, there's all of them quit but me. Like, dead ass.
We've never had more than, I guess technically 4, but like we're not counting that. We've never really had more than 3 at a time.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
Yeah.
live members, cool. Like, we love our live band members. Like, they're great hangs, but they don't want to write with us. They don't want to be part of that hours and hours in the studio listening to my voice on repeat. Like, need a trigger warning for that shit, I swear to God.
Well, that is, I mean, yeah, I could see how both bands here are so
Smaller,
unified.
yeah.
It checks
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
And the next one we have here, and you probably each have one, most jaw-dropping female artist that you would love to work with. I'll take
I
all
think
answers.
Lynn Gunn for me right now,
Yeah.
just at where I'm at sonically in what I want Honey Revenge to become.
Mhm.
I think that would be a dream for me. Yeah, I'm just going to say that because I feel like it's attainable, but also still a dream. Lynn, call me.
I don't know how attainable this will ever be. I mean, hey,
Doesn't
fingers
have to be.
crossed. But an Olivia Rodrigo, like
Ooh,
that would be
that's so
insane.
sick.
I think like, especially with the direction our sound has taken, like if we were to collab, like it would be really fucking good.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear that.
Yeah, I always
Mhm.
forget about her and what she's doing for pop rock
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I'll forever love Demi Lovato.
I
I
was-
love them
yeah.
so
Yeah,
much.
that's another great one.
Yeah.
So much. It'd be
And
really
also
sick.
Pink.
Yes.
OG.
Like
Powerhouses all
Just
around.
Yeah.
yeah.
Great
Amazing.
picks, y'all. Yeah. Also love the Demi Lovato thing. That got like a little soft spot in her. And the last one we have here, the most jaw-dropping misconception about you that you wish people understood.
That's a good
That's a good
question.
That was a good one.
Okay, I feel like for us, people assumed that we placed ourselves in a box and then were confused when we stepped out of that box. But like, we never put ourselves in that box. And I'm talking about like sonically specifically. Obviously, we don't regret any of our old music. Like, we love it still. But that we never said we were going to be that forever, you know? So I think that is a misconception. Like, we're always going to write the music that we're into at the time. We're always going to evolve and keep growing and just not look back, you know?
Do you think people also may have made the assumption that as your music's changing, like, oh, they're sellouts now? Because they're like,
absolutely. Because like even
whatever.
like signing to a major label, I think people have, it's like a very specific opinion that people have about major labels and like how controlling and everything they are. Like our label couldn't be more backing us if they could. Like
everything we've done has been
it's
our
idea.
decision.
Yeah. And like I've seen some comments being like, oh, like it's the label changed them, but it's
like,
it's really not
wrong.
like that.
Right. And also brand deals. Like we've done like commercial, we did something with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah. We're not gonna say no to that.
Who would not want to pay their bills?
No, are you gonna give me the money?
Yeah. Like, we have bills to pay. Like absolutely.
Yeah, it's a job.
A lot of people were bent up about the Taco Bell commercial. Like there's a couple comments.
Turnstile did
but exactly. No one had anything to say when it was Turnstile. So like obviously
I wonder why.
It's not the issue.
A=D.
I know.
Yeah, that is such a good point, though. Like, why did y'all get the backlash?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to throw that into the void for you all to answer for yourselves.
My misconception's so stupid and silly in comparison, but people think I'm tall as shit. I don't understand.
Me too.
We thought she was tall before we met her.
Yeah, this was short.
I'm 5'2".
I'm 5'2".
Oh my God.
I'm also
But I like
should have called this the Shorties tour. No, literally.
It's the Shorties episode.
No, literally, like, I've had friends in the crowd and I walk on stage and someone from them goes, she's shorter than I thought. And like people come up to me, I'm like, and I'll do like polls online and be like, how tall do you think I am? Because it happens every 7 or so months. I'm like, I don't know why I chose 7. Don't ask me. But
no, I did have that
thought. But I'll like post just some like to the new people. How tall do you think I am if you don't know? And they're always like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah,
they're always like 5'8". I'm like, bro, I'm 5'2" on a good day.
You know what I think it is? I think it's a show of being a good showman or showwoman.
That's fair.
Is that you have such a larger than life persona and you like present yourself on stage in a certain way. Like you stand tall.
No one in our band is super tall either. So I feel like when they see the live videos, like Donnie's not that much taller than me. It's all the hair is what I say. And like same with Tay. Tay wears platforms. Matt's not super like tall. So it's like, I feel like they see us all in the same height range and they assume one of us has gotta be super tall.
Joke's on them. You're all short.
Short but mighty.
Putting a lot of us in a van, you gotta shrink them down.
Well, this has been such a good chat, you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
You for
it's
having
been like
us.
the best vibe at this table.
We said it before the cameras were rolling, but we all watched your shit growing up. We were watching you as a pit reporter, and this was really cool. When you hit me up, I was like, oh my God, Tori Kravitz.
Well, I meant it when I said I would see you in the pit, didn't I?
Yeah.
No, but it really, like, I think it's so cool to be able to support, like, this new gen of bands that's coming out and to still be able to be a part of it. So thank you all for allowing me.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Oh, no.
How did you get that job? Like, what was like, was it like an audition? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So, like, I sent an audition tape to Warped Tour. They were like, send your submissions.
I think I remember when you were like,
I was campaigning.
Yeah, you were campaigning for it,
because
right?
there was voting online.
Yeah, you had to vote.
Voting.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I had already been doing YouTube for like 5
I remember.
years.
No, because I followed you like
That
way
is
back.
Yeah,
when.
I
I remember you campaigning.
I remember that too.
So y'all know my side bangs. I'm so
Well, you're a curly girly too, right?
I am a curly girly.
Yeah, we both got curls in this.
I have like a similar haircut to you when it's curly.
Yeah, no, because I remember your hair being super curly.
But yeah, y'all, and then it got me here.
Yeah.
Here we
So
are.
I get to sit with you all, and it's been such
So
an
cool.
honor. So, well, that's the tea on the Warped Tour job for anyone who cared. But is there anything else you guys want to mention? Obviously, you're on tour right now, so
Come
as this
see us
comes
on
out,
tour.
Yes.
Come see us on tour.
Come
see us
them
on tour. We're touring all of America. Look it up. There's probably a date near you.
And 2 Canada dates.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Right?
Cool. Well, obviously, everybody watching, Meet Me at the Altar, Honey Revenge. They should be on your radar if they're not already. And we'll catch you next time here on KNOTFEST. Make sure you're subscribed. Later.
I don't know which camera to look at. Bye.
I know.